What's up guys, welcome to vlog number 4, week number 3 of my student teaching experience. So, a couple of things that have happened since the end of the last vlog. Last time I mentioned that I didn't have my placement yet, or rather I didn't know when I was going to be going into my placement yet, but great news is I now do. After October half term, I will be starting my placement, so I'll be starting to get some practical experience, trying to get in as much as I possibly can, and cover as many days as I can when I'm not already in uni. So expect from that point that these vlogs are going to start getting a little bit longer as I also start talking about my experiences actually physically in a classroom and what I'm observing. So on to what happened today. Prior to today we were given a list of things to do, which included reading about unseen children and the legislation around that, as well as looking at starting to plan the essays for our first assignment. As you can tell, this is all coming off the top of my head at the moment, hence why it's a little disjointed. The main task for the start of the day though was to bring to the table an analysis of a snippet that we'd been given as a group. So along with my group we put together a little kind of spider diagram to do with, and I'll just grab it here, a reading from James Calderhead. We were looking at socialisation into the professional culture, so covering off things like the influences that you bring in to your teaching experience, how you're influenced by the institution and the people that you work around, and how that's an important part of your student-teacher journey. We then went into different groups as part of a scrambled groups exercise, where each person in the group is given a number and then matched up with the person with the same number in each of the different groups. We then fed everything back so that we got an overall idea of what we were thinking as a collective about Calderhead's reading. We then looked at how effective or otherwise this particular teaching method was, before going on to doing it again but in a different way. What's happening now, we've broken away from that, and we've each been given another topic to cover, but on a kind of a more a broader spectrum, shall we say. We've been asked to create a poster about that particular subject. The one that my group has is British values, which isn't a topic that we've actually covered yet. So I suppose it's also a way of gauging where we are with it at the moment, and how we would respond to that. Which, as I say, is the work that we're doing at the moment. It's going to be done ahead of tomorrow's sessions. So that being the case, that seems a good place to wrap up this part of the video, and I will see you tomorrow for the second day of week 3. Okay, so end of the second day of the third week on the 4th vlog. 2, 3, 4. So we went over most of what we did yesterday as regards to British values, but we're still yet to do like a proper module, not a module, but a proper like day on that. Decided instead to put the time aside to start talking about our first assignment, which is, because I can't remember the title off by heart, identify the key roles and responsibilities of a teacher in the education and training sector, including a discussion of safeguarding unseen children and the prevent strategy. Fun times. We have 1,500 words to do that in, so it's going to mean covering an awful lot of ground in a relatively short space. I was talking about this with some of my fellow students who was just like, I can remember way back when thinking that 1500 words was like an insurmountable amount to actually write, but it's next to nothing when you've got so much information to pack in, as well as relearning things like Harvard referencing, and making sure that everything is in the way that it should be. But that particular essay isn't going to be due until the 16th of October, so the 16th of the month that we're currently in there. So I've got a little bit of time to get it written. I will more than likely be trying to get some of it done over the next couple of days, and it will mean that it's out. Some of it's out of the way. I don't have to worry about it so much before we go away to Whitby this weekend. So that doesn't really relate to the student thing. I'm just chatting about what I'm going to be up to, what my day's going to be like. Yeah, so we also spoke about Unseen Children, and a bit of the legislation around that, and the idea that in what were described as mediocre schools, it's more likely that regardless of location, that these unseen children kind of get left behind if there's not the motivation there to actually help them to succeed. And we spoke about the idea of poverty of expectation was the quote. So this idea that if there is no expectation that a child is going to succeed, then they have far less chance of succeeding. So whether that expectation comes from their teachers, from their families, so it's something definitely to consider going forward when looking at what kind of support that we can give to students. Final thing, as I say, we did a different version of the scrambled groups task. So instead of everyone taking the same presentation off to like other people who had been numbered, we nominated 2 people to remain in one group and do and present the information that we'd put together, whilst the rest of us went off to the other groups to essentially complete that process. We all came back together and then reported that back to the people who had stayed behind. So a different way of essentially doing the same thing, but yeah, it prompted us to talk about this idea of differentiation, like making an established idea work for kind of like different formats depending on what kind of class you have, and like who's confident in certain roles and so on and so forth. So as I mentioned earlier on in the video, I will soon be starting my placement, but that's not going to be until after October half term. So we'll get another one of these in next week. Hopefully I may have even written my essay by then, or could be in the last few things of it. There will then be a gap over October half term where there won't be one of these, and then the following Friday after that, that's when the series will continue up until the Christmas break, and so on and so forth. So if you have been watching all of these in that time, thank you very much. If you haven't already, please do consider subscribing so that you don't miss any of these going forward. Leave a like on the video as well, that would be very much appreciated, because again, it lets me know that that people are generally happy with what it is that I'm doing. If you have anything that you want me to specifically talk about, please do leave it in the comment section, and I will do my best to either find out for you what it is, or if I happen to know already, to include it in the video itself. So as always, thank you very much, take care, and I'll see you next time.